Monday too, or no?
We close
You're
on
closed
Sundays
Monday.
now.
Oh, you're closed Sunday. Oh, so you're open Monday.
Yeah,
Oh,
Monday
that's
for
cool.
lunch, all the way till closing.
Cool.
I figured his ringtone was international.
Just as a heads up, so everybody knows, in that first leaf that she sent for Ralph's building, there was something wrong in it. It said Bertrand Township instead of City of Buchanan, and Ralph caught it.
Okay.
So the one in front of us, it's been corrected, just so you know.
Okay.
It was coming out hard in St. Joe today.
It was coming down hard in South Bend too.
Looked like it. My daughter had snowmen in the front yard when I got
And
home.
it piled up quick.
Yeah. We were making sure the winery over at Gravity was safe. It was safe.
Was it okay?
It was
It was
safe.
safe.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was good.
Yeah. You were safe. The wine was safe.
Today went by really, really fast.
Mac, did you have that baby out in the snow today? Were you out sledding in the snow today with that baby?
No, we pretty much kept her at home, keep her warm and happy. I
Yeah.
think that she's getting her two front teeth for Christmas, so.
Oh.
Lucky, lucky you.
Should've got coffee. I'm kinda tired today.
It seems like it's 10 o'clock already.
I know. I see that.
Dude, I was scarfing down dinner and thinking, man, why am I eating so late? And
Because you
Smashed
drink
a
wine all
waffle
day?
and 2
Yeah.
smoky links.
I mean,
Oh, that's a little.
That can make you sleepy too.
maybe. Maybe.
Waffle and 2 smoky links.
No doubt.
What was on the menu tonight?
Casa de la Swim. Sometimes it's grilled cheese and
Let me
tomato
some
soup.
grilled cheese. And tear up some. I call it turtle soup in my house.
Yeah, nice. So don't be frightened if you offer some turtle soup.
Yeah, there's the officer of the year.
Now he's blushing.
Chief says that's what he was.
Those stripes look good on your arm.
Yeah, they do. I almost feel like we should have like dentist music or elevator music while we wait. I think it just cut the mood sometimes.
A little bit of jazz.
You know?
Or any one of those CDs
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
posted today. That's crazy.
Dude, within 14 days?
44.
44 days.
But still, unbelievable list
of music.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Were you burning through some CDs or something? I didn't
No,
see
it was
those.
it showed cassette tapes of
Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Nirvana.
Def Leppard.
Was it?
I think Def
What
Leppard.
about just
I think
stuff
that
you're
was the
digging out of
bottom
the?
one.
Was it 1991?
Yeah. So it was like this whole stack of the most amazing music that I believe is out
Oh my
there.
god! Yeah, like every one of them is a
Is a top
just an
platinum.
icon record.
Yeah. And you don't, now you look back and go, yeah, that was it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, every generation's got one. You've got like the Backstreet
Lil Wayne.
Boys or something.
Lil Wayne. We got Adele. We can claim Adele.
Okay. NSYNC, maybe?
My wife was
Yeah.
watching her when I left the house. Is she on again tonight?
Adele.
I
she lost a lot of weight in this program. Now she markets it, I guess.
Unless, I guess so.
Yeah, good for her. 7 o'clock.
I can't believe there's nobody else here.
Oh, I'm quite
Must
surprised.
be the weather.
Yeah,
Or something. Or maybe it's Christmas
it
break.
frightened him. I don't know. Oh, Christmas break.
That might have
Yeah.
something to do with it.
Tyler ride's working.
We're ready to roll. Oh, yours is a minute ahead. Right there.
7 o'clock, you ready?
Ready.
Good evening, I'd like to call to order the City Buchanan Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 28th, 2021, the last meeting of the year. Thanks for coming. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Play ball.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Dennison,
Here.
Whedon,
Here.
Downey,
Here.
Money,
Present.
Swem,
Here.
you have quorum.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Sean will make said motion.
Is there support?
This is money I'll support.
So the motion is to approve the amended agenda, and there has support. Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open it up for public comment on agenda items only. If you'd like to speak, please come forward, state your name for the minutes. Is there anyone wishing to make a public comment?
And I'll just mention briefly for the public, the item added is under item XII, proposed lease agreement for DPW under new business.
Going once, going twice, no public comments? Okay. Someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. The motion is to approve the consent agenda, and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes. Thank you. Let's move down to reports by departments. The Community Development Report by Mr. Richard Murphy.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public, Rich Murphy, Community Development Director. I have several redevelopment items for your consideration on the agenda tonight. But I just want to take a minute to brief the leadership on kind of the pulse of Buchanan right now. I think what I want to get across to you is that things are happening right now. Big projects are in the pipeline, and we initially had people kicking the tires on projects, and now we have people spending money on projects and completing due diligence. We have some big projects lined up, including our largest vacant building on Front Street, real estate transaction closed, investor moving forward. This is really a special moment for Buchanan in terms of downtown Buchanan and what can be a catalyst to spur other projects on. Developers are touring, they're walking sites, they're asking questions, they're calling with follow-up questions on specific sites. We have, I think there's excitement and for the opportunity in the investor markets. At the same time, we're rolling out our catalyst, our economic development incentives to dovetail into that energy. And that's the short term, and we're engaging on projects like the facade improvement program and the restaurant incentive program, which I'll update you more on tonight. We are also pursuing long-term projects with MEDC, as well as moving forward on technical assistance programs and floodplain assistance programs. So all of this is what you want to see, and I think what we're seeing is incremental, sustainable interest and growth right now. And basically, we just need to keep doing what we're doing. And I feel very confident that Buchanan is at a tipping point, and I'll be up before you in a few minutes with ask your consideration to approve some programs for some pretty exciting redevelopment efforts. With that, I had nothing more specific, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Our vision is out there, and it's resonating. So this is what we want. We have a buzz, and now we need to follow up and close some deals. So we're working on that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, 1 Buchanan appointments? I don't know if there's-
So currently, we're asking the commission to consider appointing Deborah Hendricks, Ruth Ryder, Adam Burke, and Robert White to become members of the city's 1 Buchanan Committee, as was recommended by a vote of the 1 Buchanan Committee on December 15th, 2021.
Anybody have any questions?
Motion to approve the appointments of Deborah Hendricks, Ruth Ryder, Adam Burke, and Robert White to become members of the 1 Buchanan Board.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. So the motion is to appoint these members to 1 Buchanan, and we have support. Can you, how many members are on that committee?
Thank you.
I think they were aiming for 9, if memory serves, but they're working on updating their bylaws. So once we get those updated bylaws, I can tell you with certainty.
Do you know how long they serve?
We're trying to coordinate so that all groups stick with either a 2 or 3-year term. I don't recall.
Alternating so that
their
it's-
bylaws, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have a motion and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Thank you. Friends of the McCoy Creek Trail?
So before I begin with this agenda item, I'll note for members of the public here, any of our resolutions or proposed ordinances that are on the agenda for tonight's meeting, we do have copies of them available, 2 copies in fact up at that desk when you first come in, 1 in the binder that says public packet, and 1's just sort of sitting out. So when we come to those particular items, if you have questions or want to see the specifics of the language, they're there for public viewing. The first resolution for consideration this evening by the City Commission is the Friends of the McCoy Creek Trail Resolution. Consider approving the resolution of $5,000 annually for the next 3 years to be committed to their currently proposed trail expansion project.
Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll motion for the approval of the $5,000 annual spend over the next 3 years for the McCoy Creek Trail project.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is money. I support that.
So we have a motion. Can I get you to change your motion to approve resolution and the
Oh,
number?
yes. Sorry, I didn't read the resolution 2021.12.236 as presented.
Thank you. Does your second still stand?
Yes.
Can we have roll call, please?
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
approved.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move down to the second reading and approval of ordinance 2021.12/425. Consider ordinance amendments for additional marijuana Class C grow and processing permits, 5 each for medical use. Anybody like to make a motion?
John, I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/425.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have support to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/425 as presented. Can we have roll call, please?
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the second reading and approval of ordinance 2021.12/426. Consider ordinance amendments for additional marijuana Class C grow and processing permits, 5 each for medical use. Anybody like to make a motion?
This is money. I would approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/426 as presented. with said ordinance to take effect in 15 days as per section 7.4 of the Buchanan City Charter.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/426, and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you.
Apologies, Mayor, if I may make a quick note. I noticed in my
Mhm.
sample motions, the motions themselves are fine, but for some reason it copied over the explanations above them incorrectly for the next ones. Section C
Oh.
refers to the ethics policy and so on.
I gotcha.
Go
Yep.
back to the original agenda. My apologies for that.
So just reference the ordinance number and call it good there.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so the second reading and approval of ordinance 2021.12/427. Consider ordinance amendments for additional marijuana Class C grow and processing permits, 5 each for adult use. Someone like to make a motion?
So, rather than adult use though, that one's for the ethics ordinance code of conduct. The numbers are correct, but the section after with the narrative, I guess, for lack of a better word,
Oh.
is what copied incorrectly. My apologies, Mayor.
So
It's correctly noted on the agendas that were in the packets and distributed
Okay.
to the public, just
Let me
not
just-
copied over correctly. on the
But it's the
agenda.
second reading of the,
The numbers are correct, yeah, if you
Okay.
just state the numbers, those are correct.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's for the ethics.
And what's the second one?
Yeah, what's the
What's
423?
D?
D, so.
The amendment to
D
allow
is for
D-
smoking and vaping during
During temporary
marijuana
marijuana
permits.
permits.
Okay.
All right, so what are we, we're on C.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're on C.
All right, sorry, so let's start over. The second reading and approval of ordinance 2021.12/427, consider the creation of a City of Buchanan Code of Conduct via enactment of an ethics ordinance as drafted by the city attorney. Someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/427.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is Money. I support that.
May we have roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Item D, the second reading and approval of ordinance 2021.12/423. Consider ordinance amendments to allow for smoking, vaping during permitted temporary marijuana events. Somebody like to make a motion?
Sean, I'll make that motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021.12/423 to allow smoking and vaping inside of events, marijuana cannabis events.
Second.
Is there support?
This is Money. I'll support.
Okay, so we have a motion and support to consider amendments to allow for smoking, vaping during permitted temporary marijuana events. Any discussion or questions? Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. We're going to move down to item A under new business, the restaurant incentive program application. Consider approving a restaurant incentive program application for the Sweet Shop at 205 East Front Street.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'm Rich Murphy, Community Development Director. I have several items before you. I know that you have the full documentation in your packets. I'll give a brief summary of each item and give my recommendation for your consideration. So first item is we have restaurant incentive program application. If you follow our social media channels, downtown Buchanan just got a little sweeter with the Sweet Shop opening. Absolutely stunning, top-notch redevelopment project. So we're excited for this investor. They have applied for the restaurant incentive application, outlining expenses for restaurant equipment incurred after January 1st of this year of in excess of $40,000. So they would be eligible for the full $10,000 restaurant incentive program award, that is what my recommendation is to you, and I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Anybody have any questions? everything is up to date and
Yes.
good to go?
It's my understanding that everything is up to date and they are eligible for this grant award.
Okay. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll motion for the approval of the Sweet Shop for the Restaurant Incentive Program application in the amount of $10,000.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. So the motion is to approve the restaurant incentive program, and we have support. Can we have a roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Want to just
All
keep
right, so-
rolling?
Thank you, I appreciate that. And I know it'll be appreciated by the investor. And again, we have other applications in the pipeline. We had Sweet Shop open up. We've had, you may, if you're following the downtown Buchanan, we have Gustafson Cafe open. So there's tangible evidence of downtown Buchanan coming back in a strong way. And we just gotta, like I said, keep doing what we're doing and keep supporting and communicating and marketing. I mean, that's the other thing. The marketing attack that we have with our videos is working. It's engaging people, it's engaging investors. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Second item I have is Canna Vista renewal permit application. So as explained in your packet, we have a long-term business, Canna Vista Wellness, who is changing their ownership structure. Nothing on the management side will change except for the ownership structure. Rick will continue to own it. Kevin Zuber, who's here, is their compliance officer. And my recommendation for this transfer was then to resubmit their entire application and update the ownership portfolio, which they have done. And the application is complete, and my recommendation is for approval pending the background checks of the new ownership coming back to the satisfaction of the Buchanan Police Department.
So point of clarification, we're just treating this like we would any other new applicant for the most part, from a due diligence standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion?
Just so you know, Mr. Zuber is here in the audience tonight. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them.
I'll
move
motion.
to
Go ahead.
Give me a turn here.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll move to approve the Canna Vista Wellness renewal application, including the transfer of existing permits to a newly named permittee as presented, pending final background check approvals.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you.
Moving down the line, item C, floodplain assistance application for Roland Property Group. As you may be aware, and was revealed, the big reveal on a recent podcast, Michael and Elaine Roland closed on their property at 101 Days Avenue. Again, the largest vacant building on Front Street, the one that we really will cause probably the most revitalization downtown. As you're aware, it is in a floodplain currently, and in our floodplain assistance program, we outlined an assistance recommendation for them at $5,000 per year over 10 years. They have completed that application. The application is complete and all in good order. They have provided copies of the premium to which they would be charged, and that does yield their award of the full $5,000 per year. And my recommendation is to approve the floodplain assistance program for the Roland Property Group.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody like to make a motion?
This is money I'd approve the floodplain assistance program application for the Roland Property Group.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve the floodplain assistance program, and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Abstain, business interest.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Next item, D.
Item D is the redevelopment technical assistance application for 324 East Dewey, Building 324. The commission is aware of the project being planned by Randy Hendrickson and Building 324 LLC. You toured the building. You were presented with the vision for a transformational redevelopment opportunity in one of the Clark Foundry Building 2. And in our discussions with MEDC and with historic architect Kurt Garner, we've identified a opportunity to nominate the Clark campus on the National Register of Historic Places. What that designation will do is open up funding for historic tax credits on a much larger level. It would also lend prestige to the Clark complex in an industrial setting to designate that industrial heritage on the National Register. And it will, I think, just give more awareness to the Clark legacy, which I think can help other redevelopment opportunities in and around Building 324. So we are engaging, the city's directly engaging Kurt Garner, who is an expert in designating industrial properties. He designated the Studebaker property on the National Register, which opened up doors for funding opportunities on that project. We have a contract with him for $6,800 that the city would engage directly with him in conjunction and on behalf of Randy Hendrickson, who is actually a aficionado, if you will, of the Clark history and has been very helpful in supplying a lot of the photographs and documentation that will make this a successful designation. So my recommendation is for approval, reminding you that this approval will then open up more funding opportunities on the historic tax credit level and move the project one step further.
Thank you. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the redevelopment technical assistance application for Building 324 Clark campus as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve, and we have support. Can we have a roll call, please?
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Item E.
All right, have a loft processing permit application. A loft processing, you may be aware, was granted a special use permit by the Plan Commission for 317 Post Road. This is a significant investment. They're closing on the real estate and they're planning to invest several $100,000 in their project, as well as create 10 to 20 jobs at this location. And they have been approved for the operation of a marijuana medical and medical and adult use grow facility and processing permits. So there's 3 permits that they're applying for this evening. And the Mr. Vitesse and Josh Colton of Loft Processing are here in the front row this evening. And they are available to answer any questions you may have. My recommendation, the application is complete and all in good order. Their recommendation would be for you to approve this contingent upon the backgrounds coming back to the satisfaction of the Buchanan Police Department.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion.
I'll move Move to approve the Loft processing permit application as presented pending final background check approvals.
Thank you. Is there support?
Sean, I'll support.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve and we have support. Is there something that's holding up the background checks? I'm just curious. It seems like,
No, what's happening is that we're moving quickly because business wants to come in the door. So we just approved, December 14th, the Plan Commission. And in addition, yes, to answer your question, it is taking larger cities longer to get back to us. It's not their biggest priority, to get back to us with the backgrounds. So it is taking longer, especially we had a case out west in Portland, Chief Gaines will remind you, and then in Chicago, some of the backgrounds are taking longer. In this case, it's a Michigan background. I don't expect it would take as long.
okay, thank you. So we have a motion to approve and we have support. Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Item F.
Those were my items from community development, unless, I think I'm through. I expect to have more of these types of items for your consideration. I have several projects in the pipeline, so we'll keep moving forward, and I appreciate your leadership and your support of these economic development incentives and programs. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rich.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, item F, proposed contracts, Bryan and Newhoff. Consider approving the contracts proposed by Bryan and Newhoff to continue their ongoing work on our streetscape project and our water sewer projects.
Yes, so I'm asking the commission to consider authorizing myself to execute the contracts as proposed by Bryan and Newhoff for streetscape and water sewer projects, pending final review and acceptance by the city attorney. I'm asking this so that we can continue the work that we've already begun for the redesign and reconstruction of the Front Street project, which we anticipate to have the design portion ongoing throughout the rest of this winter and spring. Some construction movements to begin in 2023 and finalization of the program in 2024. In conjunction with that, as part of the USDA bonding process, you guys will recall we have several years' worth of water and sewer projects. This would be related to that scope of work as well.
When do we anticipate putting a group together to kind of spearhead that project, like we did the
As soon as
DPW?
these are approved and ready to roll, we're gonna start creating that group to start having visioning sessions for the redesign elements.
Mhm.
And then once we get that side worked out, we're gonna bring in more specialized engineers to discuss the water and sewer aspects.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone like to make a motion?
It's a pretty penny on this one.
It is.
Move to authorize city manager to execute the contracts proposed by Prina Newhoff for streetscape and water sewer projects pending final review and acceptance by the city attorney.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is money I'd support.
Thank you. We have approval and we have support. Roll call, please.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Item G, consider approving resolution 2021.12/239, the DPW Building Authority Bond.
So this item has been long in the works. It's something that was first discussed and approved by the commission as a motion to bring to the table once we had drafts of the resolution approved by Roger Swets, who is working with Dickinson and Wright, and then also in coordination with Andy Campbell, who is the city's financial advisor. He's with Baker Tilly. Those two gentlemen have approved and recommended the resolution in the form that was presented to you this evening. There is a hard cap on that, the number that's proposed. I just want to share with you and the public that the number that's in the resolution does not mean that that's the amount we will ultimately borrow. It just sets a ceiling for the maximum we could eventually borrow under the resolution as proposed. Now, the resolution passing, again, just gives us the option to go out for those bonds. We are still working diligently and hope to perhaps acquire some grants and other maybe more low-interest loans as we further mesh out what this new infrastructure bill passed by the federal government will provide for us. So we hope and anticipate to lessen some of that financial obligation through those means. But again, I'm recommending approval of the resolution as presented so we can continue to move forward and have that backup funding source available if needed.
Thank you for clearing that up. I was gonna ask you to explain that anyway. I know that there's some word on the street that we're building a $6 million building, which isn't the case.
No.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
Can we just talk about the 5.7 before we motion?
If we get a motion, we can discuss, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would move to approve resolution 2021.12/239.
Thank you. Is there support?
Just a little curious why we didn't have discussion before we make a motion.
You have to make a motion before you have a discussion, and then you vote on it.
If you read Robert's rules, I mean, that's the
Right.
rules. I would support. Now we can-
Now your discussion
meet it.
phase.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm all for giving some fluff into the contract amount, but I know we as a commission haven't had the opportunity to discuss our comfort level on the spending for this project yet. And I don't really feel comfortable with that long of a leash personally at 5.7 million. I can respect putting more in the fund to consider than what we truly anticipate for spending, but 5.7 is about $2.5 million more than my comfort level lies at today. I trust that we are all going to approve a lower dollar amount, but before I vote on 5.7 as an approval, I really want to understand where everybody else feels this project should be at.
Well, I think we did talk about having a work session at the end of January after the soil borings came back, and we could meet with the construction consultants and the commission as a whole, and kind of give them our target and what we feel comfortable spending as a commission. Me personally, I mean, I trust Heather in the fact that she's, I mean, I don't think anybody's out to spend $6 million. I just don't believe it. And
No,
I think
again,
they're gonna
and the
do
vote
whatever,
this evening doesn't
they're gonna do
indicate
whatever
that.
we direct them to do, so.
Exactly.
Right,
I
I
just-
get that, but why are we approving such a high dollar amount in general then? Why not a lower? I don't, our Roger and his group, I don't know how they're compensated, if they're compensated on getting the largest amount approved, and there's a variety of reasons.
I mean,
If we just don't feel like we're gonna spend that much,
I mean, are we adding more stuff in there other than just the cost of the building? I mean, or do we have Bergman in there and?
Those
And-
numbers came after discussion with the Barton Group and Bergman. Andy was looking at it from the perspective of we wanted to make sure that if the city commits to this project, which we did through the hiring of ABB for the construction manager, that ultimately, even if construction prices rise, we have a contingency built in so that the project doesn't stall for lack of funding. And that many of the grants that we're looking at would probably be more along the lines of a reimbursement style grant. So that if we got the funding, we would be able to reimburse and pay the bond off right away.
After it was complete.
Correct.
Well, I'm with Patrick here, 3 years ago, we started with a $1.1 million building. And in the past few months here, we've had an ad hoc committee that went from 3 million up to 4.7 million, and now this bond thing is 5.7. Like Patrick said, give somebody, that much lead, and they're going to build it up to that level. We don't want that. I think, Sean, you're on the committee?
The construction committee?
Construction committee, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just felt like we weren't, our opinions were never asked really, as far as the dollar amount, until just the last 2 meetings, really.
Well, I mean, I would disagree. I think that every time we've come up with recommendations from Bergman and from, I'm drawing a blank, the other B. Barton Group, that we've brought that to you. And so far, this commission has approved everything that's been recommended, so.
Well, yeah, just because there were no final dollar amounts there.
And there still,
And-
and there still aren't. I
Right,
mean, and that's
right.
what I was just saying. I think that meeting at the end of January is our chance to say where we want this to be.
What's the downside to approving a lower dollar amount now and coming back if the
So
commission
the-
feels differently?
Yeah, the downside would be if, again, if we are not able to find a lower construction number to build a building that's gonna be suitable for our needs, and we don't have grant funding at that time, but we know it's coming later, and we don't have another source for those funds, the whole project could stall out.
I guess the way that sounds to me, no offense, is grant funding's not a guarantee,
No.
and if it costs 5.7 million to get the DPW what they want, we're gonna spend it, and I can't support that. I would support the bond at 4.5 million, knowing that the group wants to intentionally be below that. It's $1.2 million less. That's just where my head's at for everybody else.
Why 4.5?
Well, at the last work session we had last Monday, I let the group know my opinion on the price of the building. I wanna see 3 to 3.5 million. I can respect giving some fluff for the same reasons we're being presented with tonight. It's just a lot shorter leash than 5.7.
From, last year, we had, I said this in the last meeting, Kevin Barker drew up a building for us that was smaller. And I asked at that point, the size of Buchanan, are we going to need additional equipment? Do we have enough equipment to do what we need to do other than just replacing equipment as it wears? And the answer was yes. So how the footprint got bigger, I'm not sure. That happened in the ad hoc committee, where the footprint of the building got bigger.
Correct, that was discussed in the programming, but that was presented at various city commission meetings for review.
I think we gave,
You guys approved the figures that were presented.
I'm sorry?
The city commission approved the footprint as presented.
not all of us.
With the option of reducing the price by possibly scaling back the footprint. I just
That's
saw.
always been part of the conversation, that is the goal, correct?
That is my line of thinking. I think we're getting bigger and bigger. I mean, before we spend even 4.5, I never wanted the building downtown. But before I spend 4.5, I'm gonna investigate the green building further, rather than waste all this time building.
I mean, my concern is we're moving the DPW out of their building. We're getting ready to potentially sign a lease to store equipment and use another building. And we're gonna stall a project that we've all been pulling our hair out over for 3 years.
I think we're not
What is the
stalling.
effect, if this wasn't approved, where would we go from here?
If we didn't approve this particular dollar amount, or
Yes.
just the whole process in general? If we didn't approve the whole process in general, we're at the whims of whether we can find some grant funding, and the fact that most grant processes take a minimum of a year, more likely 24 months to actually get funding, so it would stall the construction to at least 24 months from now.
I mean,
If we approved it with a lower amount, it sets the stage for, we have to reduce the footprint of the building irregardless of whether it meets our programming needs, to meet that number regardless of what that effect might be. So I mean, it's doable.
I mean, I would
There's a
rather see us
possibility
keep
you could
moving
have
forward,
equipment not
and then
enough room to house all your
and then in January, I mean, we get the final say.
The problem with that is, though, is some of us have expressed the building has been too large.
I get that, but
And now
part
we're
of the
just
discussion in
giving-
January will be to tell them,
I feel like we're too far ahead of that. I mean, I'm good with a lower dollar amount, but I mean, I'm the one that voted personally no on the size of that building already. That's why I'm digging my heels in on, I don't wanna approve that size, because I don't think we need that size.
but I think in January, we can have that discussion with the construction consultants and managers, and we can, I mean, because look, we're gonna tell them our dollar amount, and they're gonna have to change the size of the building, because they can't build the building that they want
Mm.
for the amount that you're talking about.
I mean, I respect that, but I think some of us have been saying it's been too big from the very beginning, and the committee hasn't followed through on that concern from
Exactly.
some of us.
Well, but it's also been approved by this commission so far, all the way along.
You know, the one time there was a vote, I voted no on it, so I can't speak for other people's opinions. I can speak for my own, and I said no.
I guess what I was saying here, Sean, is that all along, we've known that we have the chance to reduce the size of the building whenever we want, come the end of January. But just letting it be known right now that we expect the building to get a little bit smaller, the price to come down a little bit.
A lot
and
of
then
it.
Well, yeah, then we'll go from there.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. I don't care if this was $7 million, because I don't ever plan on seeing this be $7 million. And it comes to us. So I mean, I guess I just don't understand the,
Well, I mean,
The
put yourself
hesitancy.
in my seat then, the one person that voted no. The last approval at 27,000 square feet got approved 4-1. So if I don't vote no, then maybe the next time around, I don't know how all of you feel. Maybe you do feel like we can spend 5.7 million. I just know the last time we all voted, it was 4-1 on 27,000 square feet. So what do you think?
well, no,
Someone
because,
like,
because
what
right
should I
now,
expect?
that's how, the building design isn't even hammered down to an actual building yet.
But based on what this group has seen from that committee, we've seen a 27,000 square foot building with projected costs at up to 4.7 million. That's what we've seen, so we've been provided, so we've been given, that's the quotes that we all got quotes for last Monday on estimates. I just kind of feel like, I feel like it's getting too loose. I want to rein it in.
Any other comments, questions? Concerns?
Well, I think, I think our whole concern is most of us agree with Patrick. We don't want to see this high-dollar building go in. From my understanding, like I said, the 5.7 or whatever it was, or 5.2, I think it was a cap that we couldn't go any higher. I agree that we need to sit down, and if there are areas where we can scale back, that maybe we should do this. I was thinking that in our discussion with the contractors that were here, there was potential, if we wanted to scale back somewhat, there was a potential if later on we wanted to add on. And, quite possibly that's what we need to to start looking at, to reduce the cost right now. We know that in, a few years, the costs are gonna go back up anyway. But, I don't know, it's,
I don't want to stall the project on moving forward, but
No, I don't think we
approve
can
that
stall
high.
the project.
Yeah.
I think we have to keep moving forward, like Sean said, and Cameron. This thing has been going on for close to 3 years now. And, the whole thing is, we gotta do something. I mean, if you walk by that building or walk into that building, you see that it's in such disarray that this heavy snow may bring it down. So but yeah, maybe the options we need to look at in our work session is scaling down with the capabilities of adding on at a later time.
Well, I think Brian did mention something that last meeting we had about adding, the
Yeah,
ability to
there-
add
there
on
was-
to the one end.
There was a potential to be able to add on. So like I said, that's something we could look at in our work session and, and go from there.
And like I said, my concern is stopping it now that we already have kind of the wheels in motion of moving out
I don't,
and moving
I
into
don't
another
think we
building,
should
so.
stop it.
Yeah,
Just go ahead,
Sorry, no, so, just so I understand this, are you looking at it from the perspective is that this is like a line of credit, right? And we're approving it to say, we could spend 5.7 million, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that we are so hesitant to approve this is, and I think collectively what I'm feeling from the group is that we definitively are not going to spend this money. And even though we had approved 27,000 square feet, we know that at the price we're looking at, and we want to stay within 3.5 and 4, we're not going to get 27,000 regardless. So if this is pausing us or putting a hold on the whole situation, I don't see any rationale to stop it if it is simply a line of credit. Just because these shows, they tell you these people are $5.5 million home, and she's a waitress and he's a carpenter. It's like, you know they're never gonna be able to do that, and I think is that the situation we're looking at, this is saying, this is the limit. But we know for a fact this commission will never.
I mean, that's how
The
I look at it,
consequences that
honestly,
we-
that's how, and I think all of us are on the
Of
same
that.
page.
Okay,
that
and
we've
so I
got
just
to
wanted to clear it
scale
up for
this down
both
and
groups
make
that,
it palpable.
So
Yes.
that's the hard part. I understand everybody wants to spend less, but since we haven't had the time to have that conversation, I don't know what everybody's position is and how much they wanna spend, other than I just wanna spend less. Well, do you wanna spend 4.5 million, or do you wanna spend 3.5 million? 'Cause
Well,
that's-
part of it, I don't get to say what it's going to cost to get a building that's going to fit what we actually need. So, I mean, I can't tell you what, at the end of January, what the building at 20,000 square feet is going to cost. I don't know.
I mean,
this cost
we
would
could back
also,
into the math that we were provided, and the 17,000 square foot building at the same price per square foot would build
Correct.
at 3.5 million, if we use the cost figures that Miller Davis provided in our last meeting. All I'm saying is, I would like to see the bond at a lower amount. I can
Well, I mean,
support that.
I would love to see everything at a lower cost too. Unfortunately, I mean, I hate to use the term, but it is what it is.
I disagree with that.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I don't wanna see a $5.7 million building. I don't wanna see a $4.5 million building. But if this is the recommendation that Andy Campbell, who's been working on it for a long time, and the rest of the construction people that we're paying money to have us be consulted by, are telling us this is what we need just to keep the thing going and to make sure that we don't get ourselves in a bind later on, then I say we approve it, and then in January, we make sure everyone understands and we're all on the same page that this is the price we need to design the building around. I mean, to me, we need to design the building around the amount of money we wanna spend, not the other way around.
And that's my heart, that's where I can't get there, is because I don't know how much everybody wants to spend, and I'm being asked to approve $5.7 million loan. And I don't know where everybody feels.
I can tell you at 3.5, that's already 2.5, or at least 2 million more than what we originally for 3 years now have been talking about.
Yeah,
So, I'm gonna probably stay around 3.5, cause this is not gonna be the Taj Mahal, that's not what we need. I want a solid building that's safe for the crew to function and the equipment to be safe that we spent $1 million on, right? For just two pieces.
When I learned that the ad hoc committee had went away from what we were recommended to build as far as a 6 to 8 foot cement wall around the base for the salt, and then the building expanded even bigger, I mean, it just puzzled me. I mean, yeah, the concrete wall around the base is more expensive, but when you look what the building is doing, what it's designed to do, and the chemicals that are in there, to me, it just made sense. And that was a year ago that we were.
I know, and then they started laying things out though, and then when the architects are looking at it and they're saying, if you wanna build concrete walls, then you're gonna spend $8 million on a building.
Well,
We can't have it both ways.
You combine that with the expanded square footage, yeah, it's gonna be a lot more expensive. I just wanted a balance in there, you know? You know, I'm okay with a line of credit, but I just don't wanna get anywhere near that.
And I think that your
I
fear
don't-
is that I see both. I think his perspective
No,
is.
I completely understand what
Okay.
they're saying. I mean, and I understand his, not wanting to sign off on a $5.7 million loan. But, I mean, I totally agree with him. All I'm saying is, I don't think that we can stop now. The ultimate say is coming in the future. It's not tonight. This allows us to keep moving forward, and in 3 or 4 weeks, we're gonna be able to.
Yeah, I mean, if our continued
nail this
instruction
down.
to Barton Group and ABB is to meet the expectations that are far lower than the bond, regardless of the communication they get, this is our expectation.
And that's what
And
I'm
that-
saying, and that's why I
Okay.
said, I don't care if this resolution is for 7 million, because it's never gonna get to this. And personally. That's just my take, but
Yep.
any other
good point.
comments or questions? Anyone like to entertain a motion?
I believe you had it on the
We're
floor
good.
with you and money.
Did we already did?
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot after all that. Can we have roll call,
Good
please?
discussion.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem.
No.
Approved.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure what H is.
House.
So that was one that I anticipated being able to get done today, and then when I came in, the office went crazy, so it's nothing at this moment. My apologies.
Nope, that's
No worries.
fine. Okay, let's move down to I, the proposed lease agreement for the DPW.
So this was the addition to the agenda that was drafted by the city attorneys. It's been reviewed by the party RMC, and we're looking to get authorization for myself to execute the proposed lease agreement for the DPW as presented. That would allow the DPW to move in effective January 6th or thereafter.
Okay, and just for transparency, earlier today, Ralph McDonald noticed that in the lease that was probably posted online originally,
Well,
or was
actually, it
that?
has not been because technically it's still confidential until we have a signed agreement. It's not subject to the Freedom of Information Act because it's allowed to be discussed in closed sessions. So
Okay.
until it's executed, it's technically
I'll just
confidential.
stop talking.
Retract
Yeah.
that statement.
I would I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to authorize the city manager to execute the proposed lease agreement for the DPW as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Swim will support.
Thank you. We have approval and support. Can we have roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay, communications about the AEP Christmas light contest?
Yes, so I went around and allowed my 10-year-old son to choose the winners of the lights competition. So tomorrow morning, you'll see
Nice.
some pictures, and the folks will be contacted, and it should be a wonderful thing. There was a lot of beautiful lights, and I really commend everyone who participated.
I was wondering who the judge was.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was in good hands.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm going to open it up for public comment, non-agenda items only. Anyone wishing to make a public comment, please come forward, state your name for the minutes. Anyone wishing to make a public comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, seeing no one, move on to city manager comments.
To echo Community Development Director Murphy's statements, I do think that the leadership of this city is putting Buchanan in a really great situation to benefit positively in a tough economy. And I think you guys deserve to be commended for that, and I appreciate the public support for our new financial incentives and also the great business leadership we're seeing in our downtown and surrounding areas, Randy and others who are participating in these new incentives and bringing vitality to our community and jobs. So thank you, everybody.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Wheaton?
Just real quick, I just want to say thank you to Rich Murphy. I think at the very beginning, everybody was hesitant in dealing with a new economic development director. Anything to do with economic advancement in this city hadn't been talked about in decades. So we have a lot of great businesses in town, a lot of discussions, a lot of activity. And I think, you know, a lot of that responsibility and is a reflection of your dedication to this city. And I think at times we were questioning the validity of that because we didn't actually see you around a lot, but I think it's indicative of what we see today in the heart and soul that you're putting into this projects that you know we're approving. So thank you so much for doing that for our city, and I know it's going to pay dividends for years to come. You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Swim?
Just a point of clarity for all those in the room. The funding for the programs that were approved today, that was completed via cannabis funding as well as our ARPA fund. So those weren't direct taxpayer from your property tax money. That's that cannabis business that you invested in however many years ago now it started. That's what that is being propagated from. That's what's propping up these programs for new development, new investment. So I don't want word to get out that it's just your property taxes are going to funding small business, because that's exactly the opposite of what's happening here. Echoing some of Mark's comments on Rich, excellent job so far. So I don't know if many of you know my professional career, but a lot of these investment groups are reaching out, asking questions about Buchanan, and it hadn't been on their radar in the past. And these are some real powerful people in the area that have done recognizable development in Berrien County. So they're slated to either come to future commission meetings or have already taken tours of the town and given feedback on projects they're interested in. So, and a lot of that's based on the work Rich and his team have done. So excellent work there. And just, I want to thank the commission for the discussion on the DPW spend. I know it's not an easy one. I respect where all of you stand on that and just appreciate the opportunity to talk that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Downey?
No comments.
Mr. Money?
Yeah, I want to reiterate what Mark and Patrick said. Thanks to Rich and his diligence to moving Buchanan forward. It's kind of refreshing to drive through town and see the work being done on various buildings. You know, there's dumpsters out front, they're cleaning it out. We know that there's gonna be businesses going in, so we haven't seen that since, you know, actually Clark started moving out. And with that being said, thanks to Randy for everything he's doing down here at Building 324. It's really impressive. I want to, we have Sergeant Leonard in the group. I was able to talk to his peers, and Sergeant Leonard was nominated as the Police Officer of the Year in Buchanan. So I would like to recognize John. Thank you for your hard work and everything you've done for the city. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I feel like part of our job is playing cheerleader, so I just want to play cheerleader for a little bit. And I want to do two things. I want to thank a bunch of people, but I also want to hit on some highlights from this year. They're not all super important. They're not all extremely significant, but they were highlights of 2021, in my view. We had a Memorial Day parade, which after 2020 was a really nice thing to have, and it was a hit. We celebrated Hannah Roberts. We had her watch party was an event of itself. We had a great season of concerts and events at the Common. The Buchanan High School baseball and softball teams had great success this past year. We opened a new wastewater treatment plant, which is a state-of-the-art gem, which we keep mentioning, but it can't be emphasized enough. The thing is amazing. We have new businesses in town, Gustafson Cafe, the yoga joint. The sweet shop's open again. Building 324 has Blue Paw and all sorts of cool things happening inside. The master plan was completed. Our 5-year park and rec plan is nearly complete. And that's all due to the commissioners. So I want to start with thanking the commissioners. It's not always a glorious job, but I appreciate each and every one of you and the time you put in. I want to thank Heather. Your first full calendar year is under your belt, and I'm really proud of what you've done.
Thank you.
Considering new website, new accounting software, which we won't even go there, that's been kind of a nightmare. A ton of new staff, and you've done a great job of juggling all those balls and having them all in the air, so congratulations. Rich Murphy, you started with the Andrews Project, and this is exactly where I wanted to be 3 years ago. You know, when there was drama about the DDA going away and this, that, and the other, this is exactly what I was envisioning was what's happening right now. So I'm super proud of the work that you've done. Keep it up. The city staff, you guys put in tons of hours. It's appreciated. Know that it's appreciated. I wanted to thank the tree friends. I don't know. I was hoping Richard Martin would be here. I don't know what the count is. Do you know what the count is? It's got to be near 100 trees this year.
Yeah, it's about that.
It's incredible. And they couldn't have gotten it done without the DBW staff, so thanks, Mike. I also wanted to thank, the DPW staff for doing such a great job. All the community volunteers, the Scarecrow Charities had a great year this year again. The folks at the Chamber of Commerce and Ashley, adding Ashley to me is a win for the city, it's a win for the Chamber, it's a win for our community. And Rich used the word earlier, but it's tangible. You can see these things when you are walking around. So I couldn't be happier with the progress we're making. And finally, I wanted to thank Jerry Flenner. Jerry is like our Energizer bunny. You cannot stop that guy. He raised almost $200,000 by himself this year to expand the trail. He's a great asset to our community. I wanted to thank the merchants and the organizers of the farmers market. They had an outstanding year this year. It was very successful. Tons of new things down there. So I'm really proud of what happened down there. And I appreciate the discussions that we have too, and I hope they continue, and I'm sure they will. Thank you all for coming. Happy New Year. And let's keep up the good work. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Sean will make said motion.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is money I'll support.
Can we have roll call, please?
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
your turn.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I know, we flew through that one, didn't we?
That was the fastest one I think we've
Yeah,
ever had. In our almost 4 years, I think that was the,
And there was a lot there.
that was.
Luckily, it wasn't
It wasn't
controversial.
Deborah Pat's.
Oh my God. You have to read every ordinance?
How's everything going out there for you?
All right.
Well, that was good.
This is exactly where I envisioned it when we were
Dude, me too.
Somebody was giving me crap about that, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, do you realize there was no drama about putting up Christmas lights this year?
Yeah.
There was drama about
Signage.
about flowers, or about who turned the sprinklers off, or
Right.
about who did this. I'm like, it doesn't exist anymore.
It was funny because I was at Patrick's one night and he mentioned something about BDA, not like other people do, but just.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks for welcoming.
Thanks for everything you're doing. I like your new rims.
And it invoked a lot of like history that you and I went through. Cameron was kind of on the outside, he really didn't know which side he was on, and it doesn't matter. But you and I went through a lot of it. It was hard. It was hard to like people in the. And in that moment, I relived what it was like to live.
Nice
Back then,
restaurants and we're out.
the emails, the conversations, the looks,
The name calling.
the name, everything. It was
Don't
unbelievable.
own property in town. Who are you to make these decisions?
Just looking at us, and you know what? That is exactly how I felt. I said, fuck you to everybody because we worked hard, and it was a tough decision.
This is exactly what I was.
100%. When you and I made that decision, we were part of that group. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You know what? And I
Senior living
happened to be on the
center,
phone with him the other day. He
because
brought that up, and I said, you know what?
It all fades.
I still have not even changed my position on that. And I told him, yeah. He and I talk.
What is there even arguable? Is it even arguable at this point?
And I told him, I said, there is the